Hello, welcome. I'm so excited you're here. I want to really kick this off and share a story. When I began working with this client, let's call her Jill, it was about 3 to 4 years into her business. During that time, her business generated multi-million dollars. No, I'm not just saying that. She had a multi-million dollar business over the course of 3 years. But guess what? She was never once paid. And the sad thing is, this isn't like a one-off story. It was becoming like the norm as I started to grow my bookkeeping and accounting business. I would meet with entrepreneurs. Katrina would do the same. I'll introduce her in a minute. And we would constantly hear this story like, hey, I'm doing something right. My business is making revenue. But time and time again, the business owner wasn't collecting a paycheck. Or if they were, it was so random and so small, and it was nothing that would sustain their family, let alone their hopes and dreams. And the weird thing was, what all these business owners had in common, and we're talking about multi-6 to multi-million dollar businesses, is they all had an accountant, they all had a bookkeeper, and the majority of them had a tax account as well. So as I looked into like what was going wrong, why are you not turning any of that revenue into a personal paycheck? It clicked. These accounting professionals in their lives were never discussing cash management. We're never having the conversations of how to prioritize those funds that came in. They were not having the profit strategy conversations that are essential to turn a business from a cash eating cow into like a money making machine for the owner. And I don't say that flippantly. I know that when you prioritize profit, I know that when you implement the strategies that we're about to introduce you to, your entire life will change. How do I know that? Is we've done this for countless clients. Let's talk about Christy. When she came into our business, she was not taking home a dime. We converted that to 45% of her revenue. Or Gina, she will openly tell you, because she worked with us one-to-one, because she was a part of our community, she was able to retire her husband. Profit strategy is the key from turning this business that generates revenue into this business that changes your life. All right. And it was through having these conversations, it's through working with these clients day in and day out that I became super passionate about our mission. And I'm really, really excited to introduce you to the Path to Profit, which is our signature profit strategy framework. But first, let me do some quick introductions. If you're new or newer around here, my name is Cheryl, and my business partner, Katrina, and I are on a mission to help business owners put more of their revenue into their personal account. It's like an obsession at this point. And I'm going to be honest, we are so over webinars or live trainings that are going to come to you with all the fluff, that are going to come to you with like, oh, we can do this, but not the actual strategy how. So we're changing that here. In this webinar, we're going to show you our exact process on how we help our clients go from making revenue to taking a paycheck that actually supports their dreams. We have one client who, before they came into our profit strategy, let's call it atmosphere, they never got paid from their business, never. And then they went to collecting a profit payout of 5 figures, multiple 5 figures. It was around $80,000. I know, because I see it time and time again, that this profit strategy works. I know that when you implement profit strategy into your business, you will go from a business that not only looks good on the outside, but also feels really dang good on the inside. And the truth is, I just don't want you to be another business statistic. I'm sure you've heard that within the first year, 20% of businesses will fail. And that within the second year, that's over 50. And then within 10 years, only a third of those remaining will survive. And do you know the reason why? It's because the business owner is not prioritizing taking a paycheck. And let's be real, when we started this business, we weren't like, let's pay everyone else and not collect a paycheck. We're going to end that here. We're about to show you our profit strategy that is going to ensure you collect a paycheck. We want this business to pay you and work for you. So let's just jump right into it.
All right, so we're just gonna jump right in, start learning. We wanna honor your time. So what are the steps, right? We wanna give you real steps on what you can do to turn the corner of your business. What does it take to be profitable? It takes commitment. It requires self-awareness as a business owner and the ability to examine business activities objectively and remove the emotion from some of the decisions. So, profit plan. We keep throwing this word around. What is a profit plan? What this is not is just a budget. A budget is important, but you need to plan for profit. You're in this to make money, right? So, you've probably heard the quote, if you don't direct your money, the lack of it will always direct you. We are going to be the directors of our money so we can stop the reaction game and start taking proactive things in our business and making those decisions so we can move the business forward. But we want to take it one step further and keep your goals first. If you just direct your money without consideration of your goals, you are creating a spending plan and you want a profit plan that is centered around your goals. We are creating a profit plan based around your goals, your dreams, your desires, and ensuring your business is providing for you. That's why you started this, right? So, why does your business even need this profit plan that we're talking about? And the saying is true. What comes first gets done, and what comes last often gets ignored. I know for me in my personal life, I have a to-do list every day that I'm sure as business owners, most of us do. What is on the top of that list gets done every single day. But by 11 o'clock at night, what's on the bottom of that list usually doesn't make it to get the checkbox at the end of the day, right? So by creating and following this profit plan, you are going to create and make sure that these important things are getting done, like paying yourself, right? One of the biggest reasons we're all doing this. So, what is the first step in creating a profitable business? Defining your priorities. Profitable businesses need to have a strong why, an unapologetic why. What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your desires? If I were to come into your living room right now and to sit on the couch next to you and ask you to take me back to those first days and why you started doing this, I know I would see a fire light up in your eyes and you would know exactly why you started this. Are you still being true to that earlier version of yourself? Do you still have your why in the forefront of your brain? And you also need to be aware of what your business priorities are, not in general, but for the next 12 months. Have you thought about that? What do the next 12 months look like? It's imperative that you know what your focus is for the next 12 months in your business. You can have more than one priority, of course, but you need to be able to define what your top priority is. This is one of the first things that we define when we start working with our clients is we have them rank their priorities. There's something psychological about getting what's in your beautiful brain down onto paper. There's something that happens in that mix. And there's something that happens when you see it written down in front of you and you know what your priority is. So in order to create this profit plan, you need to establish 12 months of revenue predictions. So how the heck are you supposed to predict revenue in your business, right? So many of us, I'm sure, are coming from our 9-to-5 jobs where we had a known amount that we are going to bring home. And when we convert over to owning and running our own business, it kind of turns into a free-for-all. Sometimes we make money, sometimes we don't. If we do make money, we don't know how much we're going to make. So one of the first steps is knowing how much revenue that you're going to make. So you need to determine how much money you're going to take home and what funds you have available for your business to run on. So we're going to talk about revenue predictions, but I also want to touch on what you can do today so you can start figuring this out. So if you did receive a workbook, you can go ahead and pull that out. We're going to start filling in some of those blanks. Give you a second to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, first things. What would your life look like? Can you just imagine if you could bring home 50% of your revenue that your business is pulling in? Pretty sweet, right? You could predict your monthly personal income. Imagine having a plan to increase your revenue so it will bring you closer to your goals. Imagine having your business spending cultivate results that lead to more dollars into your personal bank account. When you lock in the right framework with strategy and a support system, this isn't only possible, but it is exactly what will happen. Few examples of people who have actually done this program, clients who we actually work with, some of them have actually increased their take-home pay 100%. They're taking home 100% more of what they were taking home before. That's wild. We have helped multiple clients pay off multiple credit cards. What a huge relief, right? And we have also helped clients reach their 6-figure goals. That's what's so fun about this, is that you get to choose what your priority is. You get to choose where you're putting your energy, putting your dollars, and what you want the outcome to be. You will see these results when you do the work. If you have a plan for profit, it's not just a hope, it's an actual plan that cultivates that result. So Cheryl's going to touch on a few key points here about what that looks like.
Yeah, so let's first dive in. When we're talking about a profit plan, I want you to know that this is not a static document, meaning you don't set it once. It's not like your beginning goals for the year. It is a plan that you're supposed to be in and out of all the time. To be quite frank, our clients who succeed the most, they're in and out of this plan daily. Why? Because it's going to direct your spending. It's going to direct to ensure that your next moves align with where you want to go. And I'm going to introduce it in a minute. So first and foremost, you need to know that this 12-month profit plan, I don't want you to do 3-month. I don't want you to do 6-month. I need it to be 12 months. It's going to constantly change, and it's going to require you to constantly update it. Okay. So the first step in developing your 12-month profit plan is to determine your revenue. Yes, you can make an estimated guess of your revenue, regardless if you have variable revenue. Regardless if you're a seasonal business. We have worked with other businesses who are extremely seasonal. We have worked with coaches and brick and mortar businesses. It's the exact same methodology, regardless of the type of business you have. The first step is to predict your revenue. So how do you do that? First, you pull up your profit and loss statement. I really hope that you utilize an accounting software. If I can be like throw in my favorite, that would be QuickBooks Online. But you need to utilize your accounting software to predict that 12 months of revenue. If you're like, hey, Cheryl, hey, Katrina, that sounds great, but I don't have updated books. There's ways you can go in and help analyze and like guesstimate. And you have, you're not going to want to just guess. You're going to want to use estimated revenue predictions based on your plans for the next 12 months. So before I show you the profit plan that we use with our clients, the exact profit plan we use with all of our paid clients, I'm about to show you. And no, you don't have to use ours. You can. It is for sale, but you do not have to use ours. You can create it yourself. Like I said, that first step is to predict your revenue. I want you to pull up your profit and loss statement if you have one. And I like to look at 1 to 2 to 3 years worth of historical data. With COVID being not too far ago, a lot of people's numbers are a little bit skewed, whether higher or lower due to the pandemic. So if you pull up more recent data and then help adjust based on those requirements. So here we go. Let me figure out technology and share my screen. I want to share this. Can we see it?
We see it.
Okay, perfect. So here is the exact profit plan that we utilize with clients. And you're going to see up here, up at top, you have all the months. And regardless of when you start this, you can begin your profit plan. You do not have to wait for January or Q3 or any specific timeline. Just start. You're going to put your main revenue sources down here. No, I don't want you to get over granular and be like, I sell this product and that product and yada, yada. lump them into like categories. So for instance, this sample client, she has a service revenue, consulting revenue, and she makes some money from products. And then going forward, we estimated what her revenue would be by looking at her historical data. Okay. And once again, we are using the rough and refine method, meaning we're going to go in and sketch these numbers. Think of it like a pencil. We're just placing some numbers in here. Nothing's in pen yet. Nothing's finalized. We want to see how it looks like. We are predicting revenue based on what she's done in the past, and then we add a growth factor. We go into a lot more detail into growth factor into our course, Rock Solid Financials. But basically, you want to predict how your business is growing over the next 12 months. Spoiler alert. I even want to stop sharing for this. Spoiler alert. You're not putting your goals down. We're not putting our dreams down. We're not putting, if I hear one more person be like, I want a 6-figure business, I want a 7-figure business, that's great, but that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is all defendable, and we can defend it back to our statements, back to what's going on in our business. It's all actionable. Every single number we ever put down for a client, I can justify why. Katrina can justify why, right? We look at what you've done in the past. We look at your growth factor, and we also look at your marketing plan going forward. But spoiler alert, we are never going to put your revenue at a sold out factor. And the reason for that is it's so much easier to add money to a profit plan than it is to take it away. So we believe in conservative profit planning. What that just means is we're not using those goals numbers. We're not using sellout rate numbers. In fact, depending on your industry and personal characteristics, we go anywhere from 75, sometimes 60 to 80% of goal revenue of what we think you can do. We just completed a profit plan for another client, and I used 80% of goal revenue, and I had a growth trajectory in there. Don't get lost in the verbiage. Just start at the first point of let's predict our revenue. Look at what you did in the past. Look what you have upcoming on the calendar. Do you have a big content push? Are you a brick and mortar store and it's a holiday and you're going to have a lot of extra traffic in your area, right? Let's predict that revenue based on real factors. Okay, I want to go back to sharing my screen here. Technology is hard. Okay, so back to the profit plan. So we just did our revenue. And the beauty of this is at the end of 12 months, you can see the anticipated amount you will make. To be fair, this should be the least amount of money you make because you're conservative in your profit planning and you will be making more than this. This should be a conservative factor. But what this allows for is ebbs and flows in your business. No one knew that July was going to be a complete washout and therefore you lost a lot of your business. We can ebb and flow this because we didn't put those high numbers in. I hope that makes sense. The next key component is we need to talk about COGS. COGS is your cost of goods sold or your cost of services sold, meaning what does it cost to sell your product directly? I want to stop sharing for a moment. What does it cost to bring up? So for instance, let me back up. Say you have a t-shirt business and you put graphics and you design t-shirts. What is the cost of the fabric? That would be a cost of goods sold, meaning you can't sell that item without purchasing the fabric. If you have a service-based business, COGS are rather rare in service-based industries, but sometimes they come up. So for instance, we have a client who cleans pools, or that's his business, and he pays contractors to clean those pools. He cannot clean those pools without them. They're a cost of service. Make sense? Okay. Let's talk about, in contrast, some things that are not cost of service or cost of goods. Your administrative assistant. Sometimes payroll people, for instance, we have a team who help us out here at Team Profit. We do not put them in our COGS because we can still service those clients without our team. Yes, they make our life easier. No, I don't want them to go anywhere, but it is possible. So in our business model, we put them in administrative costs. Okay, so it's just something else to think of. If you're renting a building, most likely that's administrative, not COGS. That's the difference. But the reason why COGS matters so much is because COGS is what helps determine your real revenue. And your real revenue is what is utilized to determine your own pay, to determine the funds you have available for your business expenses. Is that real revenue? So real quick, I'm going to share the screen one more time so we can see the entire formula and how it drops down. Boom, boom. Okay, so we start with that real revenue. We're going to subtract out our COGS, which is our materials, and we get this real revenue. Revenue minus COGS equals real revenue. From here, we get to do my favorite part of this entire process. We pay you. Why do we pay you first? Because you are the most important thing in your business. Without you, the business doesn't work. Without you, you don't operate. You don't serve your clients. Without you, you don't accomplish the things. Therefore, you need to start treating yourself like the most important thing in your business. And this is why we pay you next. If you are a client of ours, or if you utilize our profit plan, we put an estimated percentage over here. These percentages are based off the profit first methodology, and determining based on your real revenue determines your goal. Once again, I want to say this is the goal. This is what we should be striving to be making based on our business. So if your business is under the $250,000 mark in revenue, real revenue, this is what your allocations should be. You should be operating your business at 30%, and the rest should come back to you in the form of owner's compensation. So since those are gold numbers, it doesn't make sense where every business can immediately jump to those target percentages. That's why we come over here and we work out your business to where you're at today. Not where we're striving to be. We're aiming to get to that 50% owner's pay, but it may not be from day one. Truthfully, it may not. And that's how we use this profit plan to continue that trajectory. If you are a client of ours, or if you're in our course, Rock Solid Financials, we help you determine what your owner's payout should be, your profit, and your tax. But what you can do is when you utilize your own profit plan, or if you want to purchase ours, you can go in and remember, like pencil in these numbers and see if it works. Katrina is about to jump into and tell you all about the expenditures, but this bottom line will tell you if you're overspending. You'll see that directly down here. And the goal is to, spoiler alert, never get this down to zero. Like, this is not the goal. All right. I am going to stop being a spoiler alert and let Katrina dive in to talk all about expenses. I could talk about owner's compensation all day long, but that's the gist.
All right, so the next big rock that I want to throw into the jar here is I want to chat about expenses. We know this is a necessary aspect when we are running a business, right? We're always going to have some kind of expenses. And it's important to know what those expenses are, because you need to be the director of your own business, right? You need to know what expenses align with your priorities of the business. So you need to ensure that your expenses are cultivating results. Otherwise, it's just meaningless spending. And instead of that money going into your bank account, you're just wasting money on I don't know what. So spending should either be keeping your customers, be bringing you new customers, or giving you your time back. Those are kind of the big chunk parameters of what you should be making your decisions about when it comes to spending the money. So we are going to get into this a little bit deeper. We call this DEEP, D-E-E-P. Bring out your worksheet. The first letter D is for the word dump. And with this, the easiest way to do this is you are going to pull your expenses line by line from your profit and loss report, which Cheryl touched on earlier. You can grab that from your accounting software. Sometimes people have it in an Excel spreadsheet. Wherever it is, pull it. You want to see it line by line where these chunks of money are going. And you need to keep in mind all of those, let's just say once a year payments, those need to be brought into this list. All of those little expenses that cost $1 or $2, those little banking fees, those need to come into the list as well. All of your expenses need to be accounted for when we're looking at this. One other thing I want to bring up is the difference between a fixed expense and a variable expense. A fixed expense is generally a cost, and this cost is the same amount each and every month. Something like rent or your phone bill. It's predictable. You know exactly how much is going to be pulled out every month. Well, a variable expense, this changes from month to month, whether you're spending money on gas or restaurants or contractors, this can vary month to month. And I just want to bring attention to that because with the profit strategy spreadsheet, we separate those. So I just want to bring attention to why we do that. So at this point of I also want to touch on debt. When you're making debt payments, those also need to be lumped into the list of expenses. We cannot forget that because that's money going out, right? It's not money going into your bank account sitting there. It's not money you're paying to yourself as a business owner. It's still money leaving your bank account. So we want to account for those debt payments as well. All right, so at this point in the exercise, we are not looking at your bottom line. We are just gathering all of the expenses so we know where the money is going. Next, we're going to do is examine the expense list. Letter E for examine. We are looking at this list, looking at our profit spending plan. How do you feel? How is your spending being targeted? Is it purposeful? Does it provide your business with a result, right? These are things that we need to analyze. Number 3, the second E, evaluate. Evaluate if your spending aligns with your priorities. You need to look at your list of expenses. Can you tell by looking at those expenses what you value in your business? Do your values align with your goals? It all needs to be connected. So, for example, if your top priority is customer experience, but then when you look at your expenses and you are just pumping money left and right into advertising, it's not really aligning with what you want your priority to be. So you need to look at that, pivot, and make that adjustment. Last word, letter P for path. After we have examined our feelings and we have examined these expenses, we evaluated our results. We now need to create a path and turn our vision into a reality. This is where we narrow the gap from where we know where we want to be and how we get there. And we do so in alignment with our priorities and goals, right? I urge you to keep your priorities in front of you as we go down this path to ensure we are never going far off, whether that means writing them down, a vision board, putting them on a sticky note on your computer so you see it every day, in your mirror in a bathroom, tattooing it on your arm. However, wherever you are going to see it, make it happen because that is one of the tools that you can use to stay focused. So, another key point to remember is whenever possible, wherever you can slash an expense that doesn't meet your priority or something you're aligned with in your business, get rid of it. That is money that could be going into your pockets. And I think we're all here because we like money in our bank account, right? That's why we're doing this. So after those 4 steps, this is where we are going to start massaging the numbers. Like Cheryl was talking about, this is a in pencil exercise. This is not permanent marker. We need to be able to be flexible. There are going to be ebbs and flows. And so, yes, we need to be mindful of our bottom line, but we also need to realize that every expense we keep here is preventing that money from going to you personally. This is especially important if you are not meeting your targets, which we jump more into in the course here. But we never, like Cheryl said, we're never budgeting to zero. You want to keep a buffer. You want to give yourself that cushion. You never want to be backed into a corner. So examining these expenses isn't about cutting all the time. Sometimes it's about adding planned expenses that will cultivate those results based on your values. That's the fun part. That's the awesome part about this profit strategy, is that it lets you plan for things like we discussed. Sometimes that looks like new software. Sometimes that looks like experiences. Sometimes it's a meeting that you want to go to out of town, anything like that. Or if you're bringing on a new team member, right? You need to know if you can afford to bring on a team member to lock arms with you so you can help build your business even more. So when you utilize a profit plan, you are being conscious of how your spending affects your bottom line. There's so much power in knowing your expenses. It is so important to keep an eye on those month to month. And with the profit strategy worksheet here, it really helps you keep honed in to know exactly what is happening in real time in your business. So Cheryl's going to tell us a little bit more how we can be the director of our funds so we can actually pay ourselves as business owners.
Yeah, for sure. So it's great to have a strategy. It's great to have a plan. And so far in these steps where we defined our revenue, our COGS, we were then able to allocate funds to ourselves and put in our expenses. That's what we did. We created a plan. We created that financial strategy that will get us from here to where we want to go. But how do we ensure we stay on that path and we never veer too far away? Let's jump into that. The key to ensuring that we never get too far in the woods, that we're never veering off, is to do we call it a budget to actual. And in fact, with our clients, we go over it every single month with them, this budget to actual. But you don't need to be a client to have the same conversation, to be ensured you're on the same path. In fact, I want to encourage you, especially if you are if you're still working on your first or multiple first 6 figures in revenue, I want you to do this yourself, because you are the CEO and you are responsible for the financial results, and you are responsible to ensure more of this money goes into your own personal account. It's on you. This is how you do it. Let me share with you our budget to actual. And this is the exact system, like we were saying, we use with clients that has helped them double their revenue. Is we come in monthly to this third tab and we're going to put in actuals, right? This is what we budgeted. This was our plan, but this is what we actually did this month. And if you're in our Rock Solid course, we're going to go through this in detail with you in those bite-sized tutorials. But the key here is to never get too far off the path. And we do that by ensuring that we're never too far from our strategy. But if you remember in the beginning, we said this is a static document, meaning you need to update this frequently based on your goals. So for instance, our business, our value point is we value that we get together twice a year, like mandatory, not an option. It's one of our core values. Quite frankly, it's a core value before we even pay our team. Is our top thing. It doesn't mean paying our team isn't a priority, but this is top to us. So what we do is we ensure we have dollars allocated towards those meetings throughout the year. In addition, the other things that we really value in our business is continuing education. For instance, Katrina was just at an accounting and bookkeeping conference. It's something we value. We plugged in and ensured that we had expenses to cover that so she could attend that continuing education because it's something we value. Let's talk about we are not in a place where we are redoing our branding or redoing our website crazy or all the aesthetics. That cost a lot of money. That's not our priority this year. So we're not allocating a lot of dollars towards it. If you were to come look at our business and our profit plan last year, we allocated thousands upon thousands of dollars to rebranding and logos and all that marketing type information because that was a priority last year. Your priorities can change and you need to update your profit plan to align with your priorities. But the key is to ensure you're never too far off. So when we utilize this profit plan with clients, and once again, you don't have to use ours. Yes, you're more than welcome to purchase it if you are interested in utilizing ours. We come in and we just look quickly like what's working, what's not. So for instance, this is our owner's paycheck month over month. Okay, we budgeted this month. This is how much you've actually taken. We can then dive in to figure out why, where some of these red flags are. We've taken the owner's benefit circle. How much have we set aside for profit? How much have we set aside for tax versus owner's pay? We can come on down here and we look at our revenue. We budgeted X in revenue, but this is actually what occurred. What this does is it gives us, when you go in and complete this budget to actual, once again, you don't have to use our form, but I do need you to create your own profit plan. And if you want ours, it is available. You need to create your own profit plan. You need to direct your funds, but it's only so good to create a strategy. You have to monitor the strategy, and monitoring that strategy comes when you do your budget to actual. Monitoring that strategy and seeing if you're like getting in the woods or if you're actually on the path comes when you evaluate. Now, here's the thing. So often I hear like, oh, okay, but it's like 3 months later. The problem is you're not evaluating in real time. If you are waiting 3 months to evaluate where you are versus what you said you were going to do, you've lost 12 weeks. For example, we are 6 months into the year. Have you take home 50% of your revenue as a paycheck? No. And if you're just evaluating that now, you've lost 6 months to correct course. Don't wait another week, another month. Start correcting course now. What is a priority to you? Ensure it happens. To ensure it happens, you complete that profit plan to actual, that budget to actual. Another key thing is to look at is this is what's going to tell you if you're cultivating a result. How and why? For instance, if you are pumping money into advertising, and we have clients who do that, but your revenue is not increasing, that advertising is not cultivating a result. So if you wait 6 months to evaluate, you've been spending 6 months of throwing dollars out the door and not getting any return. We had a team member we paid to help with social media. Let's just be transparent. We were paying good money and it was not cultivating a result. We loved the person. They were a great asset, but because it wasn't cultivating a result, it was just throwing dollars out the window. Once we reevaluated, we could either A, bring in the right person or take corrective action and manage it ourselves. We would not have known that if we didn't evaluate a profit plan to actual, what you planned on doing versus what you're actually doing. It is the critical step to ensuring that these hopes, dreams, goals for your life become reality. So with that, I want to invite you. If you are new here, you may not know that we have a course called Rock Solid Financials. It is by no ways a new course, but we constantly update it. In fact, our new profit plan is a part of it in the toolkit. This course is exactly what you need if you want to manage your numbers. Perhaps you are not in a place where outsourcing makes sense. And spoiler alert, it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. You are smart, you are capable, keep more of those dollars. This course is going to tell you exactly how to manage your numbers so you put more of that revenue into your personal account. This course in bite-sized pieces, and Katrina will get into more of that in a second, is going to show you exactly how you can ensure your records are accurate and you have funds set aside for taxes so you're not stressed. Rock Solid Financials is the complete solution if you want to DIY your books. Katrina, can you share some of the details about what's inside?
Yeah, absolutely. So just the broad things that this course is going to cover, kind of taking away from this webinar a little bit, all the things we've gone over, but there's 4 main units. Those units, number 1, are going to be establishing your goals, how to do your bookkeeping, step by step, how to work through QuickBooks so you know how to do your bookkeeping. It's not rocket science. I have full faith that you guys can take this course mod by mod and do your bookkeeping. Second module is going to be profit planning. This is where we take on target allocations, budgeting. We go step by step explaining how those things work and how you would figure out those numbers for your business individually. The third module is going to be cash management. This is a vital key to running a business. This is going to show you how to implement a system that works for your individual business. And then the fourth mod is going to be establishing and maintaining habits so that you can continue to move the business forward and work through some of those roadblocks. We have thrown a few things in additionally to the course to make it more valuable, to give you guys a few more assets to have. We are throwing in a monthly call to hop on with anybody who purchases this course to go over some questions that you run into, how to go around some of these roadblocks. That is a huge value. Not to toot our own horn, but our calendar can be expensive. So by purchasing this course, you automatically get yourself on the calendar so we can go spitball back and forth, talk some of these things out. Another thing that we are throwing in there is the profit template that we have gone over. That budget to actual is a game changer. It is massive. You literally take numbers from your P&L, plug it in, and it spits out your budget. It's amazing. It is beautiful. You get a habit tracker, so many other tools at your fingertips to make this doable for you. We got pushback from numerous people in the field telling us we were crazy for doing this webinar, telling us we were crazy for building this course and giving you guys the tools as business owners, but it is just too good to keep to ourselves. There are too many people that would just get so much value. We want you to launch your business so your dreams can come true. That's why we're doing this. So we would love for you guys to take advantage of this, get the tools you need to take your business to the next level. Cheryl?
Yeah, for sure. Rock Solids, like I said, it's the complete solution if you want to DIY your books. If you're at a point where it makes sense to outsource, then tune this off, outsource. Make sure you have an accountant and a financial team that's going to help you with your profit strategy and getting you paid. But if you're not in a position where outsourcing makes sense, and spoiler alert, for the majority of you, it doesn't. And there's no shame in that game. We do our own books. Just kidding. We do. But in all seriousness, if you are at a point where you need to start putting more of your revenue into your personal account because this business won't last much longer if you don't, if you are at a point of burnout, the answer to solve a lot of that is to get paid. It's to get paid. I know, Katrina knows, because we do this with so many clients day in and day out on a done-for-you basis, that you can manage this. There's enough rock solid graduates who were now able to stress less at tax time, pay themselves a salary, and have perfect books. I am confident that if you take the modules, which are in bite-sized pieces, so you'll take action, you'll conquer it as well too. So you can find out all the information down below. We will have the links for it. If you have any questions, feel free to message us. And like I said, if you wanted to get on our calendar, it's extremely expensive. So this is a way to get on our calendar, to get your questions answered if you have any, and to help you walk you through the course. So I want to thank you all for hanging out with us today. We are really grateful for you being here. And we really just hope you prioritize profit, because that's how you'll change your life.
Cheers to profit, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us.
Cheers to profit.